All right, we are live. Greetings, fellow traders. Let me get this tweeted out for everybody so everyone can get joined in here. 1 second. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So it was definitely bullish today. So there's definitely a lot of activity, especially at the open. It was kind of one of those days where we just kind of pushed and early, and then just kind of just drifted at the end of the day. But those are rare. Those are rare. But it was a nice relieving kind of day. But before we get started today, we're going to be talking about, of course, day trading Tesla's epic move, right? So, and it's still making epic moves, right? But today we're going to focus on using news. Okay, so looking forward to this. Before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer before we get started. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, well, let's check and see exactly where we left off with the market here today. So we can see here with the SPX, right? Our weekly chart, right, is generally pretty bullish, right? We had a bit of a congestion zone in here, and we broke out last week, right? And then so far this week, we've pushed up to all-time highs and are continuing that bullish movement. Now we'll see, obviously, where we end up tomorrow. But so far so good, right? So let's go to the daily chart, and this is pretty interesting right here. So today, this is great. If you guys caught, I think it was the lunchtime market update. If you caught that one, we shifted the trend line today. It was epic, right? So we hit an all-time high today, and so fresh high, fresh trend line. So that used yesterday's lows to push the trend line too, because that's the only one that doesn't intersect any other ones. So what that does is it just kind of basically shows us where we are, right? So bullish until proven otherwise again. Now some might look at this and say like, okay, well, hey, this is forming a a rising wedge type formation, but it's been doing that a lot, right, on the way up here. So we'll see exactly what the implications are of this. But the point is that we are bullish to proven otherwise. So let's see if we continue to hold this trend line. If we do, then we'll continue to plow our way back up, right? So that's the idea. Let's take a look at the price action here today before we get started. So price action, pretty good stuff, right? So pretty straightforward. A little bit of a trickiness here at the open, right? We gapped up today, right? So nice move up. We were kind of expecting that after yesterday's move. So we just got a nice gap up this morning, right? A little bit of a failed breakout here, but then we just worked our way up. And like I said, so it was like kind of that early morning move and then just kind of the drift into the close. But they decided to push it down, but it still held the 15-hour high today, right? So again, these are the levels that we provide to our members before every market open. Right, so you can see, I mean, we basically didn't have much to work with above. We tried to get up to that R3 low, couldn't quite get there today, but we held all these other levels today, so it ended up corresponding really with the 15-hour high today once we get over the all-time high. So gave a nice move here, and very, very impressive stuff. So good. So let's take a look at let's continue this discussion here on this week's theme of day trading Tesla's epic move and using news. So let's pull up Tesla here, and the idea of this one is pretty neat. So let's just kind of talk about this a little bit here. So the idea is that when we're trading, right, let's say we follow a certain amount of stocks, it's tough to see something like Tesla unless you've been kind of tracking it, right? We track this thing all the time, right? So it's really, we're sensitive, a little more sensitive to its price action, right? So just kind of hearing news and kind of jumping in on news and stuff like that is not really necessarily the best way to trade, right? Because you need it helps to follow the context of the news, right? And this goes all the way back, from when it had all-time highs, way back here, right? When it was before it just had that epic down move, right? So it was, if you think about it, right there, this is where they were talking about going to 420, right? Funding secured, and just looked like it was just going to plow to all-time highs, and then all the debacles of the Elon Musk and all that stuff. But this is the context of it, right? It's very, very important to know that when you're following the stocks. Right? That's why it helps to just follow like kind of a select names. That's why you guys see me just tweet out that go-to list every night, right? It helps to, let me make sure I do have this pulled up here. Okay, it helps to know the context of what's going on, right? So there's Elon Musk, right? There's him tweeting about this, funding secured, right? But before getting to that funding secured, we had to know that he was having trouble getting funded, And so when that did happen, I believe it was this epic kind of spike up right here. I think we had this big gap up, or what, I can't remember the exact date, but whatever it was pretty amazing. And then this does seem like it right here, but the idea is that when that news happens and when it comes out, right, the context of it really helps. So this way if something is changing. There's some context that's changing there, right? And so So we see that a lot with Tesla. So Tesla's is kind of one of those fun ones you can kind of sit back and watch popcorn every night and just kind of like think about what happened with Tesla, right? So that's really the point of this, and doing that, right? So it's not just Tesla, right? Like take a look at Boeing, right? So there's the whole context of Boeing, right? And these airplanes, that they've had issues with, their 737 Maxes, right? And you can kind of trace through the chart, right? The things that are going. I'll get back to Tesla in a second here, but I just want to show you Boeing as a great example. This is really kind of an easy one right here. It had this big run up like everything did after the big Christmas reversal back in 2019, right? And then it went it just went ballistic, right? It went crazy. It went, all the way from like $295 to 400. It was like it was never ending, right? And then the crash happened right there, right? So that was the first plane crash they had. Then they had a second plane crash, right? So it's important when we pay attention to the news like this to see what kind of news affects it and how sensitive it is to it, right? So during this time frame right here, occasionally these stocks come back in favor with the market for whatever reason, whatever news it is, and when you can kind of see when the buying really starts coming in, the volume starts coming in strong, the intraday price action is really bullish, right? And you can see this happen for 3 days here, but a lot of times you get these 3 day moves, 1, 2 moves, 3 moves. That's why you got to catch these big moves. It's very important to do that and understand the context of what's happening with that news that's driving behind the market, right? So, with Boeing, it was FAA approval at the time, right? So that was really big stuff. So when we track that stuff, so now it's with Boeing, I don't even know what it is right now, right? So obviously the 737 Max is a big deal, but that news is just getting so kind of washed up. So at this point, we're waiting for, who knows, maybe them, figuring a way out, that type of thing. But anyway, that's enough of Boeing. But when you track these stocks enough, you get to understand how sensitive they are to certain news, right? So back in the day, Tesla was really sensitive to funding, right? It looked like they were going bankrupt and they were running out of money, and so it was really, really important to know that news was coming out, right? And what was going to happen. And so here, right, we talk about Tesla. And this is really important, right? So this range right here, if we kind of look at what happened with this gap down right here, this is really important context type stuff, right? Because we're going into this, right? We're getting kind of bullish right here, and then they make an announcement they're going to release their Cybertruck, right? And so that's really important news. And so we don't know which way it's going to go, right? We don't. And so there's a couple ways you could play that, right? You could look and see, if there's a straddle that makes sense or a strangle that makes sense based on, the volatility at the time, right? And I think this one actually was pretty reasonable with a straddle into that, and then you can kind of decide. So it's pretty neat, So when you check this out and see what's happening, right? We saw that the news on the Cybertruck was taken, kind of bearishly, right? So they smashed their window, and the truck didn't look anything like anybody was expecting, and generally it was overall disappointment, right? So they gapped down the next day, right? And so that was a little bit rough right there. And then they kind of gapped up the next day. They said they had some orders for it, and then it kind of pulled back a little bit. And then it pulled back a little bit more. And then they kind of came out again. And the context of the news really started to change when they said, we're getting like, and then how Elon Musk is, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow about the CEO, when they started to get some orders coming in for these things that were a lot more than expected. And then they were a lot more than expected, right? So we started to really fill this gap. And we've talked about this move right here on Tesla, in terms of like congestion zones and trading zones and things, and the key levels. This is a very important key level right here. When we broke out of that intraday, it was just a major intraday move. At the time, 344 to 350 was big. That was a big move on Tesla intraday, and so now we're having like 50-point swings, right, on one candle. But so it started to work there, right? So we started to see this building right here, these higher high, higher low, right, higher high, right. We started to see this start to happen. Then we started to see more news coming out, more bullish news coming out, right? So it's the interpretation of this news, which started to get bullish. We started to get more upgrades. We started to get more orders for these Cybertrucks, right? Then we started to build Shanghai factories, right? And then of course this was where are we here? This is the 8th, and it just kept on going, right? So it just shows you how this can skyrocket, right? And the upgrades can cascade upon upgrades, and then it was here. Okay, so we get up to earnings, right? And then this is it. This was the final push right here on news, and it was the earnings news. Like it was their first major profitable move. Oh, the second, their first big profitable move was back here. That kind of started things going, right? Where they had the first profitable quarter like ever. They were expecting like what was it? The estimates were like negative, and they were superbly positive, right? So that got things started, right? And then they had another positive quarter here with great deliveries, and that just really got things going again. And then upgrades, bought upgrades, and everything like that. So and then you track the after hour stuff. Like today, just for instance, we had kind of coming in today, we started getting more upgrades on Tesla into it, right? And that's just pulls that, moves that momentum, after hours and gets it kind of going there. So anyway, really important stuff. That it's fun to be able to track a stock like this. Anybody who doesn't like Tesla, is I mean, just doesn't appreciate the trading opportunities there with it. So anyway, so great stuff there. So the importance of news, and I hope you guys found that helpful. But it does help to have a stock like this that is just so interesting. In terms of its tradability and the context behind it, right? Because there's so much going on. There's so many stories behind it, things like that. So, we start to see other things like the Beyond Meat type thing, and when you start to get interested in a stock and you find something like this is a great one to track and notice how sensitive to certain news and things like that. So anyway, good stuff. So at this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can. We'll try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So 2 more trading days this week. So Thursday and Friday. So looking forward to it. It's a short trading week this week, but it's been a fun one so far. So good stuff. So we have a couple of start requests that came through. I haven't heard from Shirley in a couple days. Hope everything's going well. So we have one from The Foreigner. So we've got PBR. Let's take a look here. So let's see. I believe I pronounced that correctly. The Foreigner, right? So PBR, Brazilian Petroleo, right? So let's take a look here. So we have earnings, kind of coming up right here. Anything going on after hours on this one? So a little bit of action here. Looks like conference call type stuff in the morning. So let's see what this thing does. But basically, it's been fighting, right? It's been fighting it's below its 200-day and below its 50-day moving average, right? So it came down, recently here. So here's your trend line here to here, right? And so we started to break out above that. We started to get some minor pivots right here, kind of some major pivots right here, right? We just weren't able to close above this guy. We weren't able to close above this guy, and not able to get over the 200-day moving average. So we've been kind of stuck in this bearish mode right here. So tomorrow, or when earnings come out and are released, and then we get a candle on this thing, let's see if we can get strong above these levels. Ideally, a little bit more. It'd be great to see it back above the 50-day moving average with some good volume. So it can work its way up again. We got some thin cloud right here that we could get through. That would be great. So just keep an eye on this. It could be interesting if it has good earnings. I could change the count because I like how the 50 moving average is still above the 200. So if we get back above that, it would be like this whole thing never happened, right? So that would be pretty cool. And then Paul T sent over Baba. Let's take a look here. So Alibaba. So this is pretty interesting right here. It's getting very triangulating right here. It's getting pretty tight. Right, so we've looked. We had a downward trend right here. We got some levels right here. So these are key levels to get above. Again, that's kind of what we're looking for right now. We're after earnings. So let's see if we can close above these levels here with a increased volume and see if we can start to work our way up. Would be great. Awesome. Marty, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Matthew, what's going on? Appreciate you joining in, man. Yeah, Marty. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're just talking about Boeing there. So let's take a look. So Boeing's looking pretty interesting. So it had a pretty great reversal today. If we just kind of go into the intraday stuff, right? So Boeing, this is one of the we try to focus on putting the best stocks in front of everybody, and so Boeing is one of the ones we got to scan that we're working on. That this kind of highlighted right here. So we had a bunch of key levels at this area, and just kind of gave us an indicator that this thing was ready to go, right? So this gave us a nice lower shadow today, and then a big pop into the close. So now, why did it do that? Technically on the daily chart, well, the point is it's continuing to hold the support level on the cloud right here, and so we'll see. And it's also an inside day low right here, so there's a couple key levels that are right here, and it did bounce off of that nicely, and it ended up coming in forming a doji, but just let's see how these levels hold here, and if these continue to hold, we may be able to work ourselves up, get back over that prior resistance level, get over the cloud, get over this resistance level, and maybe try to work its way up a little bit. So again, but this is a very, very news driven, the drama stock, right? Tesla's a drama stock, right? So it's very news sensitive, right? So we need to see what kind of shenanigans basically they're up to. But it does still behave pretty well technically. A nice bull flag recently that got us up here. So maybe we're kind of in another bull flag situation here. We'll see. But if we need to get above a couple of these levels right here. So good stuff. Paul, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in, man. Dimitri, what's up? Good to see you. Jay, hello, hello. Clayton, what's going on? Hey, everybody. Jay, yeah, let's take a look. So you got some interesting ones here for us. So let's take a look here. So BHVN, and you got to tell me if there's any aftermarket type stuff going on here, but we do have an inside day here today. Biohaven Pharmaceuticals. Again, it is below. It looks like it's kind of channeling down a little bit here, actually, but it is below this downward trend line here. The other recent one is here. So we're still kind of below these guys. We're congesting right now. So let's see if we can get above this. Get above the 200-day moving average. Try to get above this on here. Try to get above the 50 into the cloud. Things like that. Other than that, it might be working on a bear flag, right, from the last move down. So just keep that in mind too. So again, it's below the trend line. So we need to keep that in mind. Of course, everything is just bullish in this market, So, in fact, let's double check, see how the futures are looking right now. Yeah, futures went red for whatever reason. I don't know if there's any news tonight, but anyway. Okay, so BMY still congesting down here, right? Still holding a couple of these levels, a couple lower shadows right here. 50-day moving average is coming up. Let's see if we can get above that and get out of there. That is the goal on that one. MBUU. Let's take a look here. MBUU. Malibu Boats. Cool. That sounds like fun. So we have a nice ascending triangle right here. So let's see if we can get above that. Let's see if we can close above today's high. Some good. I like the volume today. Let's see if we can close above that and give a nice move. It would be great. And then Yeti. Good old Yeti. Yeti's struggling, right? It's still below this downward trend line here. Still kind of working its way down in this channel. So let's see if it can get above this downward trend line here and try to work its way up. Yeti does have a tendency to move. So let's see if it does that for us. SLV, very interesting. So this is kind of curious today. So we got futures down a little bit, which is rare, right? Unless there's like some crazy Corona news or something like that. But these precious metals these past couple days have been bullish and remain bullish, right? So that's kind of one of those concerns that you kind of have with the market. Now, granted, the market continues to go bullish, and who knows, it'll probably be green tomorrow, right? But you got to kind of watch out when you have 2 days in a row of really strong candles in the precious metals when the market is strong too, right? It's sort of like a preview of volatility. It's like a hedge where people plant their money to be safe, like on volatility. So very, very interesting that we've seen a couple of these days right here. You don't see this too much. We saw it recently, in the past, but 2 in a row like this has been really interesting. GDX, the miners, gold, things like that have been really interesting like that. So Nate, what's going on? Hit that like button. That's right. Smash the like button. We always appreciate that. Thanks, man. Let's see. So, Jay, yeah, a couple more. So we got MGM. Let's see. So speaking of gold, right? So MGM Resorts. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of a spinning top right here. Let's see if it turns into a doji sandwich on the way up. You're on a 50-day moving average there. Could be interesting. SLGG. Slug. The Sluggers. Super League Gaming. Cool. Looks pretty interesting here. A little bit of a move. Nice breakout candle right here. The volume is 91,000. It's kind of a tough one, but I do like the candle. It's coming out of the cloud. Good, relatively good volume and a nice candle, so that could be interesting too. And then Penn. Gaming sector. Yeah, so Penn's actually has been the more bullish of all of them, right? So it's starting to break down here. It's got a little bit of a trend box going on here, right? So just kind of make sure it doesn't close bearishly below yesterday's low. But if it works its way up, gets to fresh highs, right? Fresh trend line, good to go. Liking it. Enlighten me, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. So we got Netflix. Let's take a look at Netflix. Yeah, so really bullish right here. I tweeted out earlier, I said it all depends on the weekly chart, right, how the weekly chart closes. Let's go to the weekly here. So very, very important candle here on the weekly, okay? So we want to see if by Friday, if we could close bullishly above all these guys. If we can, that's going to hit a lot of radars, institutional, everything. So we got some good volume coming in, a nice close above. That's definitely a potential change in composure this one, and could see ourselves working up to all-time highs on that one. So, but when we see upper shadows like today, right, it gets us a little bit like, how are they going to finish this week, right? So let's see. So let's see if that turns into a shooting star and they work its way back down and they fail to break out of that huge weekly cup and handle type pattern, or if they decide to bring it back down and take some more time to get there. Amazonius, upper shadow. Taking out the prior inside day high today and coming back in with an upper shadow. So just basically testing price levels right here. So inside days, they like to get tested, and so that's what it did and came back in. So let's see if it can get some more strength and get above it. Let's see, Roku. Inside day. So inside day on the down spin after earnings, right? So it tried. It had a nice gap up on earnings. I was hoping it would be like Nvidia and all the other ones to gap above all-time highs and just go, but they brought it back into the mess. So we had a nasty candle on earnings, another follow-up candle here. Now we have an inside candle right here under the 50-day. We're getting kind of tight right here between the 200 and 50-day moving average, sandwich between them. Let's see what it does. It's also coming back and retesting that downward trend line right there. So we'll see if that can hold it. Again, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounces might be enough, but we'll see. So very, very interesting. Absolutely, yeah, my pleasure. Paul, what's going on? TLT. Yeah, so this has been interesting too. TLT been also rising with a rising stock market too. So you got gold going up, you got bonds going up, you got stock market going up. It's like, are they just buying everything, or is there something going on here? So we'll see. But yeah, inside day here. Let's see if we can get above this recent pivot high and continue to work its way up. Cloud Guy, addicted for Bubblehead chart details. Awesome, man. Thank you. Hey, I know it's fun. Binge watch some live streams. We love it. But yeah, Bava. So we just took a look at that a little bit ago, but we are seeing some consolidation right here, a little bit triangulating. Again, we want to see it close above these levels to try to see if it can work its way back up. And gosh, guys, remember how amazing this is? Just like every little day is just what work its way up, come back trend line, work its way back up. But now we're in kind of the congestion zone. And I lost you guys. Where we go? Here we go. Good. M-Hawk 420, what's going on? A little more power. Yeah, we got some power going on. FSLR. Yeah, my pleasure. FSLR. So these have been, these were hot today. No pun intended. These things were getting hot. The solar stocks, right? The clean energy stocks. I mean, they were all like just ripping today. So right from the open, I mean, you go to the 15 right here. It's just like, see ya. Right? That was the majority of the move right there. It's just like, boom. We were like, this popped up on our scan today. I was like, I guess solar is, on fire today, so get some money going into it. So it did fill a gap today and put an upper shadow off of it. So still below the 200-day moving average. We're seeing a lot here sandwiched between the 200 and the 50-day today. We got earnings coming up on this one too. So that is tomorrow after the close. So keep an eye on that one. See what it does. I'd like to see it gap over a lot of stuff here. Gosh, remember when solar was really hot? That used to be like a big name too. Back in the day, but let's see if if it gaps up over these levels right here, then tries to give us a move up to that 62 area. That could be pretty cool. Good stuff. Where'd my trend line go? Okay, there we go. So Tracy, what's going on? Hey, yeah, your AMD did well today, so good job on that one. Beyond, let's take a look. So BYND. Yeah, nice moves right here. Again, it is working on this crazy cup and handle pattern right here. So it's trying. I got a nice little move today, and a lot of upper shadows in these areas. Really, we want to see it close over this guy. Right, once we close over this guy, then it's really going to go. But still worth it. Still giving some moves intraday. Premiums are starting to get high. We have earnings coming up in about a week or so. So keep an eye out for that too. Might try to give an earnings run. If we get over this levels, it could. Wow, I thought I was looking at Beyond right here. Wow, almost the exact same type of chart right here. Big cup, big handle, starting to break out right here. We got earnings too, so let's see if earnings can get this thing up. It didn't report tonight, did it? No, tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, 2:20 after, so tomorrow after the close. Okay. Yeah, but looking pretty good right here. Big cup and handle pattern right here, starting to get over the 200-day moving average. Looking really cool. Nice gaps filled and everything. TMP. Tompkins Financial. Let's take a look. So fresh lows right here, but we're still below this trend line right here. Definitely looks like it's working on a channel too. So just be careful with it, right? Every little up move to this channel should be treated with caution until it could break out above it, right? And confirm above it. You got your 50-day moving average above too. So watch this. It might get a little bit bearish here if it pushes below yesterday's low inside day. So just keep an eye on that too. Yeah, my pleasure. And then Z's got earnings as well. We got a lot of Z earnings coming up, right? So Z's got nice move today, nice close. Looks actually a lot like AMD's chart yesterday. And there it is after hours. Nice big move up there to 63. So that puts us at, where does that put us? Okay, well, if we're at 62 after hours here, we need to get above this 63, 64 area, and then ideally we can get above that by the morning. That would be great. That would be an epic gap and go. Otherwise, watch for a potential reversal if we can't get above those levels. Okay? A nice move for that one after hours. Claudia, what's going on? Tesla? Oh yeah, so let's take a look at Tesla. I love you always ask about Tesla. Yeah, so Tesla's pretty interesting right here. So had a big day today. Tesla's pretty funny. It's like, okay, so if it's green, just go long. If it's red, go short. right? So it was right here, it gapped down. It's green right here, inside day, and then up. Then it was green right here, up, right, green, 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 red today. So I guess it's down. So it's down about 10 points after hours right now. Let's see how it holds, right? So we'll see what kind of news. Maybe there'll be some downgrades tomorrow, whatever the case is. And then we'll kind of go from there. It's very interesting. I know Citron went short for. They never say when they cover their shorts, but I can't remember. I think they shorted like this day or this day. But if they did, they're stuck right now. So I'm sure they're hoping it goes down too. But anyway, spinning top here on a gap up. So my guess is that I'll probably try to test the real body of this candle here probably tomorrow. So that's about I'm not saying we're going to gap down to that, but it might push down there, test, and then we might see try to build some support 50, in that range. But we'll see how that goes tomorrow. SPCE, yes. SPCE has been pretty crazy too. It's got earnings coming up, and apparently tomorrow they have a big conference call or a big conference about space, whatever it is, their new stuff. But this is pretty interesting. It's had a lot of volume coming in back here, especially back here, right? Starting to move its way up. You can see that. What do we talk about? The Wyckoff method, where we have the cause and effect, right? The cause right here is all the volume and the buying, and then the effect is the move up, right? Notice how it's about the same distance here as the buying, right? So we'll see. It had an inside day today, and then I think it was pushing up pretty nicely after hours too. So let's see if that gets some continued move. This thing's been pretty interesting. Something's up with it, and maybe tomorrow with this conference things will get revealed. Okay, and let's see. We got Shack. Shack is another one. I think we've got earnings coming up on this one pretty soon. That's not till next week. So again, it's trying to climb its way up. We're seeing some nice bullish moves intraday. Right, we're seeing some good spikes intraday, but then it's kind of doing what the rest of the market was doing too. So it's a little bit tricky right now. It didn't close as bullishly as I would have liked it to today. It didn't have the volume either. And then Guild. Let's take a look. So Guild, another inside day on Guild. It's getting really tight in here, but again, could be forming a little bit of a bear pennant right from the move down. Right, so we'll see if that gives a measured move to the downside there. So it's got its 50 and 200 day moving averages below. May want to test those. Good stuff. Great stuff. Amar, what's going on? What's up? Last time you looked up JO for you and made now please look at TVIX. Okay, cool, yeah. Let's see. So TVIX. Let's see how that's looking here. So again, generally these things are these ones are designed right to be pushed down, right? So it's just part of their model. But again, it's getting really tight down here. We may see a couple spikes up. Right, especially, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes here tonight, but we'll just kind of keep an eye on it right here. We're right at some major support levels right here. Again, it's designed to go down, but it could be due for a little bit of a pop. So looking good. Thanks for tuning in, man. Ernesto, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It was great to have you on the live stream this morning. Stacy, hey, how's it going? Shop, let's take a look. Hope you're doing great. Had an awesome day today. So Shop looking pretty interesting right here. So getting tight. Right, but it is defending the gap. It's a nice little doji right there. Not necessarily doji sandwich, but we're seeing a lot of upper shadows in this area, right? So upper shadow, a little bit of an upper shadow right here. So it is kind of keeping an eye on it. It is still defending, but we're getting tight. Right? We're getting tight in this range right here. So let's see. Let's see what it has in store. I'd like to see it close bullishly above one of these levels so I could try to retest those highs. So that would be good. And Tracy, yeah, STMP, the only stock, the stock that can only be traded with earnings. For real, because the option spreads are nuts usually and really difficult. But so we're up after hours. This thing just only moves on earnings. If you don't believe me, well, it did have some news recently. But let's take a look here. Let's see. So this thing was just. It moves like almost like vol SPD. It's like boom, gap down, gap up, and then it just kind of chops around between earnings. So now it's going to gap up to around 126 ish. So it looks like it's going to be up here somewhere. So let's see how it deals with those levels tomorrow. It's in a huge gap right here. Very, very tricky stock to trade on an intraday basis, but it can be fun to trade in earnings just for fun. Like it's like a lotto type thing. So, but yeah. Zillow, I know, huge move. Let's even get over those levels. And then SPCE might reach beyond 100 before they do. Well, it all depends on what this thing is about, what this conference is about, I guess. And then we got earnings coming up. I don't even know what they do. Do they actually go into space and do anything? But yeah, the virus isn't stopping the market. I mean, this market is crazy, right? So impeachment didn't do it, trade wars didn't do it, virus didn't do it. So it's just buy calls. And then Amar. So the yellow candle is an inside candle, right? So if you go here, so that's your inside candle. So it just means that the high and the low is contained within the high and the low of the previous candle, right? So it's just a quick study that you could plug in your Thinkorswim. Let me see. Let me pull it up here for you. There you go. I'm going to paste it in here for you. So if you use Thinkorswim, if not, if you don't have access to it, obviously you can't use that. But here's the script for it. You just plug that in ThinkScript, and boom, you've got yellow candles on yours too. So just the inside bar is just something to a take notice type candle, right? So of price indecision, and a lot of times we do see when it breaks out of those levels that you get some continued movement on it. So and then Papa Mentos, let's go on LE. Let's take a look. Is it back in the game? Almost. Gosh, we rode that one up nicely, right? And then it just once we were like, oh no, see it, and then it decided to change composure, right? So we're back here. We're pretty interesting. We're back at all these big levels back down here, right before the big breakout, and it's kind of behaving a lot like that Wyckoff method. We have accumulation, right? Markup, distribution, markdown. Maybe we'll get some accumulation for a little bit, and then markup again. So let's see how it does. We do have this downward trend line right here that hasn't been breached yet. So let's see if we can get above that. See if we can confirm above it. I'd like to close above the 200-day moving average. Maybe we can work our way back out to the cloud on that one. Would be pretty cool. And then one more, ALSN. Let's take a look. So ALSN. Good stuff here. Yeah, so a bunch of upper shadows here. We have earnings tonight. So let's take a look and see how that does. Yeah, pretty boring on that one. No algos care about this one. So yes, they had some earnings, and I guess they beat a little bit, and they're just kind of chopping around. So Allison Transmissions, no fun on those ones. But we'll see. Maybe they can rally it up tomorrow. Maybe the conference call or something like that will give it a bullish move. So they'll talk about China or whatever the case is. So yeah, so good stuff. Reed, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see, team. Let's take a look at team. Team, yeah, again, it's tricky, right? With no real breakout candles right here, so we're getting still in this kind of congestion zone right here. I mean, again, it's not like it's not doing bad, right? I mean, it's at all-time highs, right? It's just not doing anything, right? So it makes it kind of tough, but it's not doing anything bad, really. It's just kind of hanging out. So we would like to see a nice bullish candle right here with some good volume to try to work its way up a little bit. Would be great. So good. Great stuff, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. This has been an awesome discussion on Tesla this week. We got one more tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about Elon Musk, the CEO, and his kind of whole role in the whole game, and that'll be pretty fun. And so I hope you guys have been enjoying it, and I hope everybody has a great night tonight. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube, and please smash the like button. We always appreciate it. And also, if you're new here, definitely check out the links in the description, too. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening and a good night's sleep, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for another awesome trading day. And remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. I'll talk to you guys soon.